First off, I'd like to introduce you to a dear friend and client who some of you may recognize from the slides this morning as the tiny house lady. So in 2015, she downsized and redefined her life, redesigned her life, and is now a sought-after speaker in the tiny house space. She's a best-selling author. She's got hundreds in her downsizing course. And I want you to join me now in welcoming to the Handprint Legacy stage, Brenda Mason Parmalee. So, Brenda, unmute.
I have unmuted. Hi. I gotta tell you, this whole weekend has been phenomenal, and I constantly learn something new. I've got to ask you real quick, is the sound okay? Me talking?
Sound is good, but can you turn her up a little bit for me?
I'm sitting out in a car. It's like 90 degrees. And like 5 minutes before we're ready to go, I'm going to take y'all back to when I met Katie. And I got to tell you, from where I'm at right now, I got married 2 months ago. We lived in this, I'm living in a converted motor coach, and we all moved in there about a month ago. So I was very specific, and I even said, hey, I'm going on in about 10 minutes. Give me, I don't know where you're at, but if you're on your way home, I got to come in and make some tea. I had everything set up. Talking about pivoting here. This works.
No, you're fine. This works great.
So I went to the back of my property. I thought, I'll have a beautiful backdrop. I had my microphone. I had everything all set up. I go back there and I'm killing I don't like mosquitoes. I'm killing mosquitoes all over me. I thought, I can't be slapping myself while I'm talking to y'all. So then I ran up to the front. He's here. He's got the thing. He just doesn't have the lay of the land of how we do this yet. Very supportive. Wants me to do it 100%. Thinks it's a great thing. And, but here I am sitting in a car so somebody else can make his tea. So anyhow.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Mark. Anyhow.
Bless your heart. All right. So your downsizing story, though, I know I probably just picked a lot of people's interest with that. I would love for you to briefly share your journey of downsizing and how that resulted in us meeting all those years ago.
I'm ready to go. I'm going to talk fast because I know I just killed a lot of my time. 2015, my youngest daughter was graduating from high school. She'd been accepted to the college of her choice back here in Virginia. I was thrilled to death. And I needed to get us back here to Virginia, but I didn't have like the 30,000 plus to move our massive amount of stuff back here. And she was going off to her little college thing, and I decided I couldn't do it. So I decided I was going to downsize. And she's so darling. That's great, Mom. But you've been downsizing my whole life. How are you going to do that? And I was going to do it in 31 days. So you see, we all have, what I want to tell you in this is that we all have our unique experiences. And I've heard over this weekend, because I've been there, I have nothing to share with anybody. And there's big names out there. Let's talk Marie Kondo. I'll say the names. It doesn't bother me. Peter Walsh from Australia. But we don't have a Brenda Mason in the United States. And we do now, and Parmalee now, but Katie mentioned that to me. So anyhow, 2015, I'm getting ready to come back here. And Alex was right. 33 plus years before she was even born, I was always trying to organize and downsize and all that. But it's really good to do a drawer or a desk. But, you still have all your stuff. So that was the realm there. But I had to get it done. And I had 31 days to do it. And I just put a place and I did it. And so by June of, anyhow, and I also have a cousin who is now very large in the blogging world, but at the time she was growing and large family, all that stuff. And she's like, you got to blog what you're doing, because tiny houses were not a big thing back then. So I had all these little things and I thought it would be great. So I got back to Virginia. Nobody else lives in a bus or a tiny house in this area. Everybody thought I was crazy. And I put everything in my little 5x8 trailer. So my girlfriend said 3,100 square feet to 310 square feet in 31 days. And I know our earlier speaker said, do not vomit verbally on everybody. And I'm doing it to y'all. I'll have to work on that. So anyhow, but that was my claim to fame. That kind of makes it a little bit more authentic. So I was back here doing my thing, doing my little bit of blogging, no money. And so I was an empty nester. I was single. I'd been married for 24 years and I'd been divorced for a couple of years, not dating anybody. Came back, don't have children, but I have parents, elderly parents. I'm an only child back here. So when I was coming back and they talked about blogging, I came back in June and there was a blogger conference in July that I needed to go to. I didn't have a website. I had a domain, it's mysmallerlivinghugelife.com. No website, no nothing. And I go to this conference just to find out more about blogging. And I happened to meet Katie Hornor there. But I had no idea what I was doing. I went to little breakout sessions that they had, and I came back. I have no idea how to do the computer. Give me a typewriter. That was back in my day, right? I don't do this computer stuff very well. So I like Henry running up and down for the files. So anyhow, in answer to your thing, I met Katie, and then my path ran across her again when I went out to Salt Lake City. And I'm still not anywhere further with my blog. And so I met Katie, and she had this smaller group, and it was like people my age. Oh, I got to tell you real quick. But I needed people that understood tiny houses, and I went to Tiny House Festival. This is all in the time frame where I just met Katie, but I wasn't doing anything with her yet. And as I was at this Tiny House Festival, people were looking around, and they loved. This is important. This actually relates to everybody. I'll tell you how in a minute. But everybody was looking around at these beautiful little tiny houses, and everybody was like, oh, I could do this. I would love to do this. I could go tiny. And then it was like this dark veil fell over their faces, like, but what would I do with my stuff? And their life ended right then and there of their dreaming and their whatever they needed to do. But that's what so many of us do in life anyhow. But I'm standing there thinking, oh, I know where you're at. I get it. I've been there, but I've done it, and I could help you. And we're talking in line. And then soon after that, a couple people contacted me about speaking at the Tiny House Festivals. So I went and I could help people, but I couldn't go deeper with them. And the beauty of having a course or a membership or a voice online or even on Facebook or having freebies is people are out there and they need help.
Right, right. And so what happened at that point then to steer you back into creating the course and the book and the things that you have today?
Exactly. So I'm there and I have nothing to offer them. I can't work one-on-one. I could work maybe with 10 people. So about that time, I got a newsletter. I was speaking at Virginia Tiny House Festival, and Katie had she had a one-on-one build your course down in Mexico. Now you also have to know that I was living on $713 a month. I had no debt. I mean, that was fine for me. I just didn't have room for extras, and I had nothing else. But so I thought, so all these people wanted me to help them, and I thought, I need a course. I can reach more people that way, and this will go over big. And I was speaking at the festivals. I need to offer them something. So I went down to Mexico.
But wait. You just said you had $700.
Thank you. Yes.
$700 a month. So how in the world did you come to a retreat in Mexico to build your course?
Okay. Well, I'm all over the place. I have so much I want to tell you guys, and I can only have a few minutes. Anyhow, so I went on, Katie mentioned it just a little bit ago, PayPal. PayPal had a thing that if you spend over $99, you have 6 months, 0 interest. I'm also very big. I don't like credit cards. I don't like debt. 0 interest I was okay with. I thought if I could make this course, get it out there. Thank you, Judith. If I get it out there to people and help them, and maybe I'll get the money back and I can pay this back within 6 months. That was my plan. So that's how I did that. I normally won't go into debt, and I'm very frugal. I love my dollars, and that's how I could do everything. So I invested in myself, which I can do that for everybody else. Can't do that for myself. But I thought I need to do that. And the reason it was easier to invest in myself is because I thought this was a process that truly worked. It worked for me. I had a couple individual clients that it had worked for, but I could reach the people. So that's what I did. I went down, and because I didn't have the tech, I had nothing, but I left with a course and a video showing me what to do because I was manually doing. I didn't have the internet and all. I mean, I didn't have the, doesn't matter. What was your question, Katie? I saw you get raised.
So that's awesome. So you found a way to do it even though money was tight because you knew this was your next step, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you get back to the States, you have your course, you start marketing your course. Now your course has been out for a little while, and people started asking you for the next step, which was what?
A book.
Your book.
We
So how
tried.
did you write your book?
So I got to tell you guys, I put the course out there, but I didn't know this marketing and this funneling. And I think I'll just wave it out there and everybody will take it. But people, you have to get it in front of people somehow, right? So the lead magnet and all that. So anyhow, I was on my way up to New York. Somebody said, you need to come up to New York and meet with these anyhow. So I talked with Katie. She helped me put my one sheet together that you have to have. And I headed out the door. I'm on my way to New York. This is like a month after being in Mexico. And I'm up there, and Tommy Crudup from Rachel, I'm still nobody. But he's like, this is incredible. This is amazing. We have Peter Walsh on our show, and Dr. Oz has been doing Marie Kondo, but he says, you need to write a book. He said, I'd read this, and you need to get it out there. So I come back, and he's like, how'd it go? And at this point, Katie I did have a little bit extra, and I hired Katie as a coach and a mentor, like once a month type of thing at the time. It's a different program she was offering. So we needed to do a book. And I thought, well, we've got all the information. Of course, I backed into everything. Normally you have a book, you have a course, you go speaking. Not me. I did everything.
But I want to point out for people in this process, though, she says normally you have a book and then a course, right? She decided to do a course and then a book. Either way you do it,
You
it
got to
gets
get
done, folks. It doesn't matter. It's getting your message out there. And
exactly.
either or, whatever you decide to do, it's taking action to get the message out. That's important, right?
Exactly.
So awesome.
And
so the book, but it wasn't just a book. This book, and I remember because I was there, tell us what happened with the book when you launched it.
We kind of had a launch, like, I know nothing about this. I'm just saying, whatever Kate tells me to do, I'm just trying it and doing it and do the flying by the seat of my pants. But I know she knows, right? And I didn't have a list. We just said subscribers. I didn't have a list. I had like maybe 25 people because people didn't want to give me their, anyhow. So the answer to the thing, I got to quit looking at the chat. So I called Katie and she's like, it's the same process. You've already got it in the course. We turned the course into a book. I
Yes.
changed it a little bit here and
Yes.
there.
And when you launched it,
it was number one on the best-selling list with Amazon before we ever even launched it. We went bestseller, boom, like that, even ahead of Peter Walsh, Marie Kondo, and etc. I couldn't believe it. So, and that was great. In the meantime, somebody had me start dating this guy named Mark Parmalee, and I was like, I can't date it. I'm doing a book. So I did a book with Katie, and I did that, and then. But still, I did the course minimally. The book is always out there. So my book is like we've got our foundation of the pyramid Katie was talking about, right? So I have to get a category. The other thing I wanted to let you know is back when this whole thing started, which is so important, and people were always talking about a freebie or, you got to monetize. I'm like, I don't have anything. I have nothing to offer anybody. Boy, Katie jumped on that. She's like, well, what do people ask you about the most? I said, everybody always wants to know about downsizing. She said, but didn't you do it? Don't you teach people? Why don't you put that? Why don't you put that into play? No, she spoke life into me that I had like no clue. So it helps. Not only in that one little investment, I have a course, I've got the online, just open a membership that actually launched on Monday. And I have people in it. That's like so exciting. I got to tell you too, when I first came back to do the course and I put it out there, I knew I was going to have all these people in it. I'd be able to pay off the PayPal. I'd be able to do that. Not one single person took me up. So I could have been totally devastated. The very first time. Yeah. And so the case like, that's okay. We just have to get it out there in front of people, So we did. And so then there was a time, of course, COVID hit. And so I offer it 3 times a year. It's $4.97. I offer it 3 times a year. And May was supposed to be, but prior to that, in January, somebody in the tiny house community said, we're putting a bundle together. Would you put your course in? Well, my course is $4.97. And the bundle was going to be $49 along with these other people. And it's right before COVID hit, but I didn't know about it at the time. I said, sure, I'll do that, because I just thought that would be good, because a lot of people need to do this. And it's about the heart and serving your people. We've talked about that.
Right. And so how many people ended up in your course from that bundle sale?
Well, I put in May and October because it was so close to when the bundle came out. Said over 300 people in the May course alone. So let me tell you what that does. And I had other people signing up for October. So I already have, $497. I just saw somebody ask that. So anyhow, and then, but, that's a person come in every day, you'd be looking at thousands of dollars. I have a top tier of 2,500 to 5,000 one-on-one. But anyhow, it's still cheaper. I can go into that. But anyhow, keep me back on course, Katie, because I'm getting too
Yes,
out there.
yes. So, all that you've accomplished, like, I am still so proud of you. Like, to go from nothing, like, I don't know how to open my website and get in there and do anything, to a course, to a best-selling book, to 400 students that you're impacting. I am just in awe. And on top of all of that, getting married 2 months ago, girl, I am just so proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences. And just one last word, what would you say to the rest of these people listening right now that have been telling themselves, I don't have the money to make a difference, or I don't have the money to invest in myself to do the next step I know I need to take? What would you say?
Find it. Think outside the box. Borrow it. My parents actually at one point in there loaned me because they actually said, I don't get it, but you can do it. And if I hadn't done that one step, I would still be trying to figure out how to, I don't even know. And there's still things I don't know. So I still try to hang in there with Katie and figure out. I know a lot more than I did. So one of my favorite things is don't wait for one day. And in this whole thing, watching the people that I said, oh, but what would I do with my stuff? And how their life just stops. You have got to invest in yourself, what you don't know how to do, and just get out there and get it done. And the fears of I'm not good enough. We've talked about that this week, and I've heard other people that I'm not good enough. I have nothing to offer. There's so many people so much further ahead. Well, go ahead and get started today so they don't have another day ahead of you. And then just get out there and you start. And then there's billions of people out there, right? And so you don't have there's people that are waiting for your specific voice is the other thing that I can say. So my thought is, I'm not telling you to go into huge debt, but if you resonate with somebody and there's somebody that you can learn from, you don't have to stay with them for the rest of your life, but you need a mentor. You need somebody, same thing in the downside. I'm going to stop in a second. You need somebody, find somebody that you resonate with, that you can understand, and that's willing to come along beside you to go forward. And that's why people take my course, is because I've walked ahead of them one time, or I've walked a little bit ahead of them, and I know how I can walk with them. I come along beside them, and sometimes that's just what we need.
Yeah.
So I
Thank
think I'm
you, dear.
done.
Thank
for
you.
your
You're so
time.
inspiring. So
Thank
inspiring.
you.
You got some great comments in the chat. Thank you
Okay.
so much for sharing your experience with us.